The lecture series on Introduction to Radar System. Now we are going to discuss stealth, ultra-wideband and low frequency radars. Stealth technology, also termed low observable technology or LO technology, is a subdiscipline of military tactics and passive and active electronic countermeasures, which covers a range of methods used to make personal aircraft, ships, submarines, missiles, satellites and ground vehicles less visible. In fact, if you consider the ideal situation, it must be invisible, but we cannot say it is absolutely invisible. So its visibility will be very, very poor. That means radar will not be able to detect it properly. So less visible to radar. Not only radar, but also invisible to infrared, sonar and other detection methods. It corresponds to military camouflage for these parts of electromagnetic spectrum that is used for radar and all the other detection equipments. The concept of stealth is to operate or hide while giving enemy forces no indication as to presence of friendly forces. This concept was first explored through camouflage to make an object's appearance blend into the visual background. So these are some stealth equipments. This is fighter plane, this is ship, this is tank. For light wave it is visible, but if we consider the radar signal, their radar cross section is extremely small, so radar will not be able to detect this type of equipments. For radars, stealth simply means the reduction of cross section of the target, and this can be achieved by two different methods. One is by changing the shape of the object, and second one is by the use of proper material. Now, if you consider by changing the shape of the object, an extended object or target does not necessarily reflect radar signal from the whole body equally. Some portion of the body are main reflectors or scattering centers. The shape of the object are engineered to reduce the reflection from those scattering centers. Now, if we consider the use of proper materials, some materials absorb microwave, obviously within a certain specific range of frequency. Any material cannot absorb all the frequencies equally. The frequency that is used for radar may be absorbed by some materials, and those materials may be used to cover the equipments, so that that material will absorb all the powers, and the radar echo signal will be very, very poor, so that radar will not be able to detect that particular target properly. Also, some materials used to transmit the incident signal in opposite portion of the object, thereby reducing the radar echo. So this type of coating may be used to reduce RCA. This is another method for the stealth. Now, if we consider the aircraft, how the stealth is implemented in the case of aircraft, because for aircraft engineers have to take care of the aerodynamics as well. So that's a very big issue. Only one or two components contributing significantly to the echo at any aspect. Propellers and jet turbine blades produce a bright radar image. Some stealth aircraft have skin that is radar transparent or absorbing, behind which the structure termed reentrant triangles. Radar waves penetrating the skin get trapped in these structures, reflecting off the internal faces and losing energy. In the tail of the conventional aircraft, corner reflectors are present and they produce excessive reflections. In some stealth aircraft, a different arrangement is used where the tail surfaces are tilted to reduce corner reflections formed between them. Even in some stealth aircraft, the tail is omitted. That means the tail is not there, like this one. But if you remove this tail, obviously, since it is a flying object, you have to take care of the aerodynamics. So that's another issue. For aircraft, designers have to take care of the aerodynamic limitations. Otherwise, if the aircraft becomes aerodynamically unstable in all three axes, then it may require constant flight corrections that enhances the complexity of whole design. If excessive electronics or electrical control circuits are used, then there may be a chance of unwanted electromagnetic emission that make them vulnerable to passive detections like counter-stealth radars. Counter-stealth radars may also design to detect intentional high-power emissions such as radar and communication signals. Stealth aircrafts are deliberately operated to avoid or reduce such emissions. Since stealth payload is not yet generally available, and ordnance mount points create a significant radar return, stealth aircraft carry all armaments internally. As soon as weapons bay doors are opened, the plane's RCS will be multiplied, and even older generation radar systems will be able to locate the stealth aircraft. While the aircraft will reacquire its stealth as soon as the bay doors are closed, a fast response defensive weapon system has a short opportunity to engage the aircraft. Stealth aircraft are typically more expensive to develop and manufacture. Now consider the countermeasures. Passive radars, bistatic radars, and especially multistatic radar system detect some stealth aircraft better than conventional monostatic radars. Since first generation stealth technology reflects energy away from the transmitter's line of sight, effectively increasing the radar cross section in other directions, which the passive radars monitor or can monitor. Some analysts claim infrared search and track system or IRSTs can be deployed against stealth aircraft because any aircraft surface heats up due to air friction. So no aircraft can avoid the air friction. So obviously some portion of the surface of the aircraft must be very hot during its flight, and that can be detected with the help of some detectors like IRSTs. So these were the claim actually. VHF radar systems have wavelengths comparable to aircraft feature sizes and should exhibit scattering in the resonance region rather than the optical region, allowing most stealth aircraft to be detected. Though stealth aircraft may be detected with the help of this type of VHF, but VHF has got several problems of propagation. So those you have to take care of during the design of the radar system. Now consider the stealth for the ship. A stealth ship is a ship which employs stealth technology construction techniques in an effort to ensure that it is harder to detect by one or more of radars, visual, sonar and infrared methods. The main concerns are radar beams originating near or slightly above the horizon, obviously as seen from the ship, coming from distant patrol aircraft, other ships or sea skimming anti-ship missiles with active radar seekers. Therefore, the shape of the ship avoids vertical surfaces. So here we have some change in the structure. It is not like aircraft, because aircraft used to fly at higher part of the air, but fly through higher part of the air, but ships actually sails through the on the sea floor, or sea surface. So the design, their problems are completely different from that of the aircraft. And that is why the shape of the ship avoids vertical surfaces, which would perfectly reflect any such beams directly back to the emitter. So retroreflective right angles are eliminated to avoid causing the cat's eye effect, so-called cat's eye effect. Cavities that present a horizontal face are to be eliminated, since they act like a trap and are very visible to this type of radars. Sound noise is reduced by some of the techniques used include muffled exhaust system, modified propeller shapes, and pump jets, because sound is a issue for the case of ships, because any submarine or submarine equipment can detect the presence of ship with the help of sound, because you cannot avoid sounds proper if you cannot avoid sound or eliminate or remove or reduce sound coming out from the different parts of the ship. That sound may be a potential problem for the ships, because sound will propagate through the uh, water, and it can be detected, the presence of uh, the ship may be revealed through the sound. And another aspect is the thermal emission. A heat signature can make a ship stand out like a candle in a dark ocean, making it easier to spot. And because it is possible to see infrared emission through features that would normally hide a ship, such as fog or smoke screen, many detection platforms like petrol aircraft, UAVs, and satellites often have the ability to see multiple bands of infrared spectrum, including heat. This necessitates the control of these emissions. The most common way is to mix any hot gases emitted by the main source of heat, which is engine's exhaust, with cold air to dilute the signature and make it harder to pick out the ship from the background warmth. Another method vents the exhausts into the water, though this increases the ship's acoustic signature. So that will create another problem of sound. Now consider the structure, materials. After the structure, we have to consider the materials. The choice of materials affects the RCS of the ship. That is same as that of the aircraft. Composites like as fiberglass or carbon fiber are great blockers of radar and give smaller vessels an advantage in further RCS reductions. However, these composites are fragile and often unsuited for to larger ships or ships that expect to take fire. Though new laminates can partially negate some of the weaknesses, this restricts larger ships to use materials such as steel and aluminum alloys. To compensate, a ship may include a coating of a radar absorbing material, though this can be quite expensive and may not stand up to the corrosive effect of salty water of the oceans, because most of the time these ships used to roam different through the oceans. It is not that they will move through the rivers. Now consider the ultra wideband radars. Ultra wideband radar systems transmit signals across a much wider frequency than conventional radar systems and are usually very difficult to detect. The transmitted signal is significant for its very light power spectrum, which is lower than the allowed unintentional radiated emissions for electronics. So if we consider spectrum, so this is the conventional narrowband system with bandwidth of this much, but ultra wideband system we spread from this frequency to that frequency. It is extremely wide band, and since it is extremely wide band, its peak power is also very small compared to the conventional narrowband system. The most common technique for generating a ultra wideband signal is to transmit pulses with a very short duration, and that duration may be less than 1 nanosecond. The spectrum of a very narrow width pulse has a very large frequency spectrum approaching that of a white noise as the pulse becomes narrower and narrower. These very short pulses need a wide receiver bandwidth as conventional radar systems. The amount of spectrum occupied by a signal transmitted by ultra wideband radar is at least 20% of the center frequency. So, a ultra wideband signal centered at 2 GHz would have a minimum bandwidth of 500 MHz, and the minimum bandwidth of a ultra wideband signal centered at say 4 GHz would be of the order of 1 GHz. Often the absolute bandwidth is larger than 1 GHz. An example of a typical ultra wideband radar is the pulsed noise radar. This radar is transmitting at a center frequency of 24 GHz single pulses with a duration of few nanoseconds only, and the pulse power is of the order of 4 milliwatt. Power of 4 milliwatt. Its bandwidth is therefore of the order of 8 GHz. So bandwidth is enormous. Whether this radar is transmitting or not cannot be determined by measurement from the outside of the radar, as the transmit pulses do not differ from the environmental noise. As you can see that the pulse power is of the order of 4 milliwatt only. So after traversing a large distance, this transmitted power will be much less than the noise floor. So anything cannot be countermeasure will not be able to detect this type of very low amount of signal power. Now consider low frequency radar. This type of radar uses the frequencies lower than 1 GHz, such as L band, ultra high frequency band, very high frequency band, and high frequency band, as opposed to usual radar bands which range from 2 GHz to 40 GHz. The radar cross section of any target depends on the frequency transmitted by the radar. Below 900 MHz, the target radar cross section increases exponentially. When we have discussed the RCS radar cross section, we have already discussed these issues, the variation of radar cross section with frequencies. So below 900 MHz, the target radar cross section increases exponentially. However, the increased radar cross section means that there is much more radar return from undesirable sources such as cloud cover or rain. It is because of this that radars traditionally use much higher frequencies, with an exception being the radar operated in the 3 to 30 MHz band, which are used as over the horizon radar stations, because signals in that range are able to reflect off the ionosphere. Recent interest has accumulated in developing radars which operate in these low frequencies to help counter the advancement in stealth technology by applying advanced digital signal processing to these bands in order to reduce radar clutter. If the radar wavelength is roughly twice the size of the target, a half-wave resonance effect can still generate a significant return. However, low-frequency radar is limited by shortage of unused frequencies, lack of accuracy given the long wavelength, and by the radar's size, making it difficult to transport, because lower the frequencies, larger will be the antenna size or antenna dimension, and larger the antenna dimension, difficult it will be more difficult to carry from one place to another place. So that is why it is said that making it difficult to transport and making for an easy target, because its size is larger. A long wave radar may detect a target and roughly locate it, but not identify it, because it is operating in Rayleigh region, and the location information lacks sufficient weapon targeting accuracy. So it is used just for the detection purpose, but its accuracy is not good enough. So that's it for today. Thank you.